Now, we know that one of the major issues for President Buhari was actually getting access to these light jets and helicopters for Nigeria, and that was something that was also played up at this joint press conference today, and that's something that we know that President Buhari desperately wanted, and now that, in fact, we saw a question from someone from one of the reporters from Nigeria talking about this. Let's play the sound from that question that was asked about the helicopter, and then let's come back on the other side and let's talk about that.
We also congratulated the United States government on the important role it played in the defeat of ISIS, although some of the remnants have found their way to the Sahel region. We recognize the strong United States support in our fight against terrorism, and also appreciated very much the United States agreement to sell 12 Super Tucano A-29 warplanes and weapons to Nigeria to effectively fight terrorism.
And the first part of your question, I couldn't hear what you were saying. Go ahead.
The helicopters.
Oh, helicopters.
Yes.
Oh, we love helicopters. He likes them more than I do. He likes buying helicopters, but he is, and they're buying a lot of helicopters. Helicopters.
We want to know how soon
Very
we'll
soon.
be releasing them to the country.
Yes, very soon. We're getting it approved. Part of the problem was that you weren't allowed to buy helicopters in our country, and now you are. I worked that out so that now you can buy the helicopters that you want. They weren't allowed to buy the helicopters in our country for various reasons, which frankly were not good reasons. But now they get them, and they get them very quickly, and they are the best helicopters anywhere in the world. We make the best military equipment in the world.
It's a major issue in Nigeria. As you are aware, the northeast of the country had been battling, had been in crisis. Just before President Buhari came to power, the insurgents were controlling several local governments just before he came into power. So the discussion on that issue, and the fact that the United States is willing and has approved the sale of helicopters, Tucano aircraft to Nigeria, will actually change the pace of that crusade against the insurgents and the terrorists in that area. And over the years we've been having this issue. Nigeria had been on it. Over the years, they'll be asking for military hardware from the United States. But because of the late amendment, which forbids U.S. State Department and Department of Defense from selling or from supplying foreign military or foreign security forces that have a record of human rights violation, we couldn't get all those things, which the government of Nigeria tried that under Obama. There were assurances, but we couldn't get that. And that was a critical thing that President Buhari asked Trump when he came to power. In his first conversation, he needed that. And with the approval of this, I am very sure that Nigerians are optimistic that we are heading towards a final onslaught against Boko Haram and insurgents.
Yes. And so we have. I want to also play this the sound about Christians that was brought up at the press conference today. So if we have that, let's play that, and then I want to come back and talk to you about that, because this issue of human rights is also very crucial, and we know that it got a lot of discussion today. So let's play the sound on the Christians, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Finally, we're deeply concerned by religious violence in Nigeria, including the burning of churches and the killing and persecution of Christians. It's a horrible story. We encourage Nigeria and the federal, state, and local leaders to do everything in their power to immediately secure the affected communities and to protect innocent civilians of all faiths, including Muslims and including Christians.
Okay. So we saw the president actually talk about Christians and the importance of human rights in Nigeria, and so we know that President Buhari has actually made that a centerpiece of his administration, and now we see that's what's actually drawing, I think, so much attention. A lot of positive things are coming out of Nigeria now. What did you make of those comments by President Trump talking about this idea of human rights on the continent? In Nigeria.
Yeah, I think it's a possible thing. It's a positive thing for Nigeria, and it's also good for President Buhari. We are just about less than a year to the next general election, and he's having that kind of endorsement that his government is actually working towards addressing the issues of human rights in Nigeria. And I think it's a positive thing for him. And he didn't only talk about human rights, he also commended him for fighting corruption. You remember he talked about Nigeria having a bad reputation. Well, he quickly added, I'm talking about President Trump, he quickly added that President Buhari had been battling that. That is good for Nigeria. That is good for the image of the country. People that have impression that Nigeria is just about corruption, they are getting to know that something is being done to address those issues.
And I thought one of the interesting things that we heard from President Buhari today was he actually talked about trying to build a relationship with the United States to move beyond simply oil revenue, and so that he wanted to actually grow the economy and make the economy more diverse in terms of and working perhaps with the United States to build a more diversified economy. We only got 30 seconds left. Tell us very quickly, how do you think the president did today overall with his comments, being on the stage, on a major stage with the president of the United States?
Yeah, President Buhari spoke very well. He was even during the question and answer session, he spoke very well. He used the opportunity to bring up those values, those enduring values which the United States believes in, and that the United States shares in common with Nigeria. He also used the opportunity to market Nigeria, to tell the world that Nigeria, or to tell the people of America that Nigeria is not all about killing and all that there are also other positive things that
Tokunbo, we've got to leave it there. I'm Eric Ham here at the White House. Duarte, back to you.
Thank you, Eric.